Ghaznavi or Ghazni, Mahmud Ghazni was, they weren't exactly taken as like they are religious figures. They're historical figures, but they're also taken as religious figures. So
Okay. What do you mean by
yeah,
that?
so okay, so we talked about how like in discussions that we've had in previous classrooms, like history books and stuff like that, we were told that Muhammad bin Qasim is responsible for bringing Islam to the subcontinent, or he's like the sort of person who sort of initiated it, or something like that. And then we talked about how we talked about the temple of Somnath, a place which Mahmud Ghazni sort of attacked for about seven. From what we've heard, it was around 17 times till he finally succeeded. And both of the people, they sort of, not exactly both, but Ghazni was actually known for resenting Hindus, or maybe sort of resenting the other sort of religions, something like that. We also discussed how this was actually like the divide between the two religions, Islam and Hinduism. They were taken as, this was sort of taken as an excuse about how like they're two different things, even though like we wrote this one point, and we wrote the point that the divide maybe didn't start then, but was used as an excuse by people, which towards like the division of Pakistan and India. um and then yeah, so basically that was it for our points, like in a nutshell.
Okay, great. So does anybody from a different breakout room have anything to add or clarify or even disagree with Vanya from breakout room 1? Thanks, Umair. Come on in.
Hi, Miss. So, what we know that is Muhammad bin Qasim came to the subcontinent because the Umayyad ships were being attacked by Raja Tahir, who was a Hindu king, right? So they sent Muhammad bin Qasim to retaliate against the ships being targeted. So it was initially a political agenda and not a religious one. So when he came, it eventually turned into a religious one, and after he colonized the land, that's how Islam was spread through him. I don't know if this is correct, but this is what I've heard.
It doesn't matter if it's correct, right? So what were you guys basing your, your knowledge of these figures on? Did you reach part 3 of the exercise? How do you know what you know?
I mean, mostly it's from what we did in like 8th and 9th grade in Pakistan studies. But there are also other sources that we found online. The point that I raised was told me to me by a friend. So
Okay, cool. Okay, Mariam.
Yes, so I was basically in room 5, and we discussed a lot of different things about Ghaznavi and Muhammad bin Qasim, and much of our information was based on the textbooks that we have studied in O level and A level or inter, and some of my peers also studied Tariq Islam, a short history of Pakistan and history of Muslim India, from where they gain all of this information regarding how how they were, for example, there was Raja Jaipal and Subhatagin, and how they basically added to the history of Ghaznavi as well. But
Lost
that
you,
a lot
Mariam.
of this information that we have gained from our textbook system.
Take care.
Yes, hello, can you hear me
No,
now?
you're back. You're
Yeah,
back.
so
Carry on.
so we kind of agreed that much of the information that we have gained from all of these textbooks is to basically give us a very constructive and consolidated version of history, because we know that a lot of history of this region that the Western world mostly knows is from the Indian perspective or from the Hindu perspective. So a lot of people don't really know about the Muslim leaders or all the people who were from this region or from this community, and they had such a great impact. So these leaders were these figures were included in our textbooks to show particularly Pakistanis that there were people from Islam, from the Muslim community, who had a very great impact. And Muhammad bin Qasim is, a lot of our history starts from his invasion in this region, and he's also considered Pakistani in some sense. So it gives us a point in the history to look to point at. Okay, this is where our history actually started from.
Okay, Naval.
Right. Hello. So I was in breakout room 6, and what we basically discussed was that a lot of the information, which is similar to what people previously have said, a lot of it comes from the same places like textbooks and park studies and stuff, but a lot of it also comes from sources of entertainment like movies and stories from my parents and elders, which goes to show, I think, how ingrained these stories are into us and how big of a part they are in our history and in our culture. And also, we believe that the main purpose for this information written in our textbook was to instill some sort of patriotism and pride for these figures who, when we look at it objectively, I hope I'm saying the word right, but when we look at it objectively, they're not entirely who we think they are, because different areas and different people have been told different stories, and they were prominent figures for Islam. And we also discussed that they entered into modern day Pakistan. So we can think that that's actually where Islam started to spread in the subcontinent. And it was sort of a way to glorify our religion and to bring it closer to us, because that is such a core part of our studies. And so, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Hamna.
Okay, so I'm from the same breakout room as Mariam is,
Sure.
from breakout room 5. And I'll just add a small point.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm sorry. So what we discussed about Muhammad bin Qasim was that he was 17 when he came to Sindh, and he conquered it at that time. And that is the reason why we say that Sindh is the gateway to Islam. And another point, another source I'll highlight, Mariam has highlighted most of them, but one of our peers, he also read this information from Dawn. And it was like these figures were basically discussed and a part of our discussion nowadays, because the inclusion of these figures, they help to strengthen the image of Islam. And yeah, this is what we discussed. And we even discussed the date of death, and when Muhammad Ghaznavi became the Hakim of Ghaznavi in 999, and he died in 1030.
Okay,
So yeah,
so
this was
let me
some
just,
additional.
yeah, go ahead, finish.
No, I'm done with it. I just
Okay.
adding a few things.
All right. So uh, that was Hamnana. So we're done. Okay, guys. Thank you. I now have, let's try and fill in some gaps. I think the discussions seem to have gone really well. If you look at my third prompt, I think it's really obvious that we have a consistent thematic approach to what we're studying in this course, and I'm going to take an opportunity to re-emphasize it. हम बहुत पुरानी हिस्ट्री पढ़ रहे हैं, this is true, लेकिन the reason it's so important, right, that it's part of the curriculum and that it is actually necessary and required for all IBA students to do this course, is because the makers of the overall core curriculum for the university were agreed that it is crucial for all of us as Pakistanis, and you as young Pakistanis, to know about your larger history and background, not in a purely academic way from a distance, because we tend to view history from a distance. You know, पुराने ज़माने में ऐसा होता था, हमसे कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है उसका, but ताल्लुक है ना, बार बार हम इसी चीज़ पे वापस आ रहे हैं कि ताल्लुक है. And the way that we will address that is, most of what we're going to cover are things that you have vaguely come across either through your Pak studies books and lessons in school, or even through other aspects of popular culture, such as historical epics are very popular in Bollywood, and many of us keep up with the big blockbuster movies that come out. And then there are smaller ways in which this culture even is produced even in the popular culture landscape of Pakistan itself. And so we form a hodgepodge impression of the past. And what we really want to do, right, in a course like this, is train our minds to critically analyze how the past is depicted in conventional wisdom and in public culture around us, and why it is depicted in a certain way. Because the thing I think that is by now very clear to all of you is that आप इंडिया में हो, पाकिस्तान में हो, बांग्लादेश में हो, साउथ एशिया में आप कहीं भी हो, your the past and the history of this region is packaged through a very specific, skewed nationalist narrative. And it's actually very, you, not even me, you are living through a juncture of South Asian history and of Pakistan's history in particular, where we have reached this point, in maturity as a country, where you can actually take a step back and start to unpack and question the way that history has been manipulated for the purposes of nationalism. And that doesn't make us any less Pakistani, nor does it make it any less important that we are Pakistani. And one of the reasons for that is that ab koi fark nahi padta. It's too far down the line. 3, 4, most of you are fourth generation Pakistanis. अब पाकिस्तान कहीं जाने नहीं वाला, आपकी आइडेंटिटी कुछ और होने नहीं वाली, ये सवाल अब उठ नहीं सकता कि क्या पाकिस्तान बनना चाहिए था, नहीं बनना चाहिए था, हिंदुस्तान का हिस्सा होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए, वो बातें जो है ना अब they're not open for historical change. Pakistan as a nation state, for better or for worse, is a fact. And we, through an accident of history, have been born here and live here. And so it is up to us to kind of take agency and start to play an active role, perhaps, in thinking about who we are and where we've come from, and maybe start to change the narrative around what it means to be Pakistani and what it means to have a Pakistani identity. So hence this course and the approach that we're taking in it is not academic and not hands off. It's deeply personal. It matters, and it should be deeply personal to you. And that's why for today's exercise, I chose these two figures because they play such an important role in the story or the narrative of Pakistan and what it means to be Muslim in South Asia. And I think you've all done a great job in sort of recollecting that, and also in being aware of how it has been given a certain role in the story. And now you're ready to think about the fact that perhaps if we look at the broader, more complex, more full picture of historical developments around these two guys, maybe we'll understand that actually they were not that important. And maybe they were not doing this job of bringing religion or Islam to India. Maybe they were doing other things. Ji Ayaz.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Ji.
Can I discuss the effects of these two rulers on the subcontinent?
Absolutely, bataiye.
Yeah, I have prepared some points. The first point, and a kind of myth and stereotyping that is more prevailed among the people of the Muslim, especially in Pakistan, that we the Muslim are the heroes and we can fight well in different wars, And secondly, a kind of controversy of dominance.
Oh,
Different religions in subcontinent, they are always in fight.
Ayaz, I'm
Uh,
sorry. Can you start over? आप mute हो गए थे बीच में.
Sorry, ma'am. वो call आई है. I was saying that a kind of myth and stereotyping prevailed among the people of among the Muslim people, especially of Pakistan, that we the Muslim are here for fight. We can win a war. We are more stronger. Secondly, a controversy of dominance between different religions, especially in subcontinent, and that caused the emergence of Pakistan, by different Maulvis and different theologians. And thirdly, which is one of the worst effect in contemporary age, is that the military generals of Pakistan they are still in delusion that they are like Muslim kings, and they want to refrain the people from the spirit of democracy in Pakistan. And it's a kind of, they own this attitude. I have just, I perceive this. They own this attitude that we are like kings, we are like the past Muslim rulers, and we want to rule the country individually. And fourth point is that in establishment of Pakistan, they want us that we think we do not think freely, and we remain in dark days in history. That what I have perceived from the social studies books. A kind of unrealistic history. And lastly, we always mention these names, the theologians of different leaders of Pakistan, that these Muslim leaders were great, and they want to degrade the image of the West by mentioning these names in different speeches, in different festivals.
Thank you. And you know, right, that all the major nuclear missiles and all, I can't remember the names, but इसी तरह in history से नाम इस्तेमाल किए गए हैं for various important military places and moments and materials. Hamna, your hands up again.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a small point about what you said. Our group also discussed one of our group members said that maybe Mahmoud Ghaznavi, he did not his main focus was not only to spread Islam, but maybe to even to capture India's treasury. And the missile you were talking about, I think Ayaz was the one who told us that it was Hori missile, one of the names that was given after.
So that
Being
brings me to
inspired by
another quick question. Guys, I will always expect you to stay with me till about 3:50, because it always takes us 5 to 10 minutes to gather before class starts. I always open the room at 2:30, मगर आप लोग आते नहीं हैं, 2:35, 2:40 के बीच में पहुंचते हैं सब. So my question now is more factual, but again, I want you to answer mostly from memory. Are there other figures in the history of Muslim presence in India who are part of the story of Pakistan in the same way as Muhammad bin Qasim and Mahmud Ghaznavi? Ji Huzaifa.
बहुत सारे मतलब मिसाल के तौर पर औरंगजेब आलमगीर को
Very
काफ़ी वो
good.
किया जाता है
हाँ,
और जैसे गौरी मिसाइल शहाबुद्दीन गौरी के नाम पर है जो
बिल्कुल.
उसके बाद आए थे महमूद
I
गजनवी
think
के
it's
बाद
हाँ, ठीक है.
मोहम्मद गौरी भी है और
हाँ,
शहाबुद्दीन मतलब उनका लक़ब शायद कुछ
हाँ,
इस वजह से
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
बाकी और भी हैं जिनका नाम लिए जाते हैं जैसे
किसी को
मिसाल
याद
के
आ
तौर
रहा है
पर
अली?
मैं दूसरे कैरेक्टर्स के बारे में कहने
Sorry,
लगा
go ahead.
दूसरे
हाँ.
शख्सियत हाजी शाह वलीउल्लाह के और हमने जो
Yes.
बेसिकली ऑल ओवर्स की पाक स्टडीज की बुक्स पढ़ी थी ना उसमें 3 ऐसे बेसिकली रिलीजियस थिंकर्स थे हाजी शाह वलीउल्लाह सैयद अहमद मुझे इनका नाम नहीं याद आ रहा बरेलवी उन और एक और थे मुझे उनका नाम भूल गया दूसरा सर सैयद अहमद खान को
Anyone else remember the third figure? किसी ने भी कुछ कहा है?
शाह इस्माइल.
Maybe. I would think
Haji
that
Shariatullah as well.
it was probably Bolo. Does this ring a
मैं
bell?
हाजी शाहबलूल के बारे में कहना था कि उन्होंने बैटल ऑफ बालाकोट लड़ी थी ना, बैटल ऑफ
बिल्कुल
पानीपत.
हाँ
I remember the third
well he's known
character.
by many names. I'm going to put him down as this. Acha. It's usually the Mujaddid al-Fasani, who is also known by a set of different titles. Jyoti and Ifra. Jyoti first. No.
Miss, I just can we talk about Allama Iqbal or not?
No, not yet, because I was actually alive at the time all this was happening. But yeah, I mean, why not? It's a good idea. He has definitely
Yeah,
been
because he did contribute to
reshaped.
Pakistan.
हाँ, ठीक है. Ifra?
Miss Muhammad Ali Johar and Shaukat Ali.
Why? Do you remember who they were?
Yeah, because of the Khilafat movement.
ठीक है. In fact, modern वाले नीचे डाल देते हैं. ठीक है.
Yeah.
We just call them.
Tipu Sultan.
Yes, thank you. I was waiting for that one. Sana?
Miss, I'm not sure, but can Titu Mir be also included?
Sorry?
Titu Mir.
You are talking about Tipu Sultan, I think. Or are you talking about someone else?
I don't know if they're the same person or not. I just remember from history that
I
there
think
was a
they're the
person
same
of
person. And if they're not, you let me know later. Ji, Huzaifa?
ये मेरे ख्याल में वो तो नहीं थे बंगाल में जो एक
yeah, Bengal wale the Muslim nationalism one.
हाजी शरीयतुल्लाह और
अच्छा
उनके
अच्छा
जो
अच्छा
बेटे थे
ठीक है ठीक है too late in the day. Ali, you're still unmuted. You want to say something?
No, sorry, गलती से हो गया, sorry.
अच्छा ठीक है. Okay, I'm more. I mean, ये colonial era का एक बिल्कुल अलग. Let's call them. ठीक है ना? Now, but these are your historical figures. So, and so on. You've forgotten. Well, should we put Babur here or not?
रख सकते हैं लेकिन इसका इतना
I
नहीं
guess
होता.
no, because he didn't enter from Pakistan, the areas of Pakistan.
Did he not?
Yes, he did.
और कोई रास्ता नहीं है आने का ना? आते सब वहीं से हैं, खैबर पास से.
शेरशाह सूरी के बारे
Oh,
में.
good job. Okay.
Ahmed Shah Abdali.
Yeah.
Ahmed.
Yeah.
Ahmed Shah Abdali. And also, can we put?
Bolo.
Can we put Sayyid Ahmed Khan in the colonial era?
Yeah, I know that's a good idea. And look at these names you've assembled, right? They are very much the main characters of the official narrative. And as you guys yourselves have very articulately pointed out, with all of them, one major thing is associated, that all of them contributed in some manner to this common cause. And what is the common cause? Ke, Islam ka iqbal buland rahe Hindustan mein. And this motivation is attributed to them. And it's very much an attribution, right? Because वो इस हमारे लिए जरूरी था 20th century में Indian Muslims के लिए जरूरी था to think of the history of the community in terms that were positive, because by that point they had started to feel like an underdog and a minority after centuries and centuries of being the ruling elite, right? We must not forget that. That's really where Sir Sayyid's role comes in, and you're taught it in that manner also, na, कि 1857 के बाद बहुत ही बुरे हाल थे मुसलमानों के, because the British were blaming them and persecuting them. And then Sir Sayyid came out and said, the only way we can survive and in this new world is to modernize, learn, educate ourselves in modern sciences and participate in the new political dispensation, which is British colonial rule. Okay, Ji Aisha.
Miss, it's a request. Like we have a quiz at 4, so like can we just end this class because we need a break before the quiz? If that
All
is
right.
okay.
It is completely fine, and I had said 350. Ab hum 352 pe aa gaye hain. So yes, absolutely. We'll pick up from here next time. But just do the reading. It's a big reading for next week, but it's less theoretical. It's more of a story and more fact, so that usually makes the reading easier. Arguments or theory thodi kam hai. Any last questions? People are free to leave, but if anybody has questions, I'm here to take them. All right. Okay. Whoever has a quiz, good luck. See you next week. Please do your reading. Yes? All right. Khuda Hafiz.